Hey YouTube, I'm the one, the only Mania Monkey, and welcome to my channel. This is going to be kind of a freeform thing. I'm not planning on really editing it much, if at all, and it's mainly going to be me rambling at the screen. But I want to kind of introduce myself to you guys and let you know a few ideas I have for the channel, get your feedback on those ideas, and but it's mainly about me explaining kind of what motivates me as a musician, so that you guys know who I am, what I'm about, where I'm coming from, and some of the things that are causing me a bit of issue in running the channel. Uh, Most notably being that it's a one-woman operation, and that woman struggles with motivation. But yeah, so I don't really know how to get into this. It's But here we go. Quick disclaimer: this I'm going to be talking a bit about depression and one particularly bad moment I had with depression, as it was very much the catalyst that led me to really wanting to be a musician and to start the channel. So please, please bear with me with that, and if that's the sort of thing that is a trigger for you and causes you difficulty, please maybe don't watch this, or try and skip ahead. If I can remember, I'll try and put a timestamp to when I stop talking about it. But yeah, rambling on, trying to figure out how to start. Okay, so here's the thing. Shortly before, well, a little while before I started the channel, I hit a really rough point with my depression, and I um I wrote a note out for my mum and dad, and I went for a walk. I had a random pop punk station on my phone playing, and I went to this quiet spot and sat next to this poor excuse for a stream. Uh, and I really don't want to talk about this, but it's important. I think. I hope. Um, yeah, I sat there and I I pulled out a small knife, and I was ready to end it all. And as as I put the knife to my wrist, um, I heard uh, I heard, "Hey, don't write yourself off yet. It's only in your head you feel left out or looked down on." Which, for anyone who doesn't know, is the opening line for a great song from a band called Jimmy Eat World, and that song's called The Middle. And the chorus for that song uh, is like, um, "It just takes some time, little girl, you're in the middle of the ride. Everything will be just fine. Everything will be alright, alright." And in that moment, that was everything I needed to hear. It pulled me back, and I sat there for hours, probably, just listening to it back on repeat, crying my eyes out, thinking back to all the times in my life in which that one line from a song or that one song just sort of jumped out from nowhere and and really said everything that I needed in that moment to get me through the difficulty and the pain that had at that moment. And when my mum texted me to see where I was, I got up, I started heading home, and I thought to myself, if I could write one song, if I could perform one song, record one song that reached one person, just one person, and help them deal with whatever horrible nonsense their life was throwing at them, that maybe, just maybe, all the shit that had led me to that point would be worth something. And so I went on and I started up singing lessons. I started up guitar lessons. I still only know like 5 chords on the guitar, uh, and everything. And I rushed into writing a couple songs, um, and I rushed into recording those songs. Wow, I recorded 2 of them, uh, and I uploaded them onto the channel. And around that time, my singing teacher then told me about the study that was done on like uh, male voice choirs, I think it was. But the study had found that when people sing together, their heartbeats sync up. And maybe it's just the hopeless romantic uh, in me, but the thought of being on a stage with a crowd of people singing along to a song that I wrote with me, to knowing in that moment that our heartbeats are all synced up as one, that is just, that's something I really want to experience. And so that's the other thing that guides me and drives me as a musician, and really makes me want to achieve something with this channel and achieve something as a musician. But it's difficult because, well, I don't really know what I'm doing, and I'm constantly panicking that I'm going about everything in just completely the wrong way. I know pretty much nothing about music theory or anything like that. I know like 5 chords on the guitar and how to use a capo. Serving me well so far, but I really need to learn more. I've signed up for like some piano lessons because I figure if I learn the piano, then I can play any instrument through like MIDI tracks and stuff with a MIDI keyboard. So I'm trying that. But on top of that, I still have a lot of the issues and stuff that had led me to that point of depression. Being that I have Asperger's syndrome, I have dyslexia, undiagnosed. It's pretty obvious to everyone I talk to. I like explain how I struggle with it with other people with dyslexia, and they're like, yeah, that's dyslexia. Why haven't you got that tested? And it's mainly because every time I brought it up, people have been like, you get enough help with the Asperger's, you don't need the dyslexia thing as well. And I was just like, it'd be nice to know. Um, but yeah, and I recently found out when I went to speech therapy to try and get a more feminine voice, because the other thing is that I'm also transgender, which has been a big thing. And seriously, going through the transition and stuff has worked wonders, and I'm a lot happier now, as you can tell, hopefully. But I found out that I also had selective mutism, which is unsurprising. With the Asperger's, I've always had people be like, oh, you're not going to be good with social skills, you're not going to be able to get this and that, and all this rubbish, and constantly being put through social skills lessons, which did more harm than good in most cases, and everything. And then the whole thing where my voice broke and I just hated the sound of it. I still don't like the sound of it. It's one of the biggest things that is holding me back, because it's very difficult to record yourself and to be able to listen back and be properly critical when your first instinct is to immediately hate the way you sound, because you sound like a man when you're not. It's frustrating. But all of this sort of stuff I'm still dealing with, and I'm still trying to get myself to a good place where I can consistently be proactive in chasing my dreams of being an awesome musician. I don't know if I want to be like super famous. That kind of terrifies me more than anything. But I want to be able to make a living from it. I want to be able to have my songs reach awesome people and everything. I basically mainly just want to be famous enough to blag a guest spot on Critical Role. Like everybody who's into tabletop role playing games wants. But yeah. So I've completely lost track. It's very, when you have Asperger's syndrome, your brain can go off on all sorts of tangents, and it's really difficult to stay on track. But yeah, so I'm working on becoming a better musician, learning more about music and everything. Till then, it is just going to be me and my guitar and 5 chords that I know, transposed up the fretboard with a capo. But it's difficult though, because my main passion with music is the lyrics and the singing. That's really what inspires me and gets me going and everything. So and another thing with Asperger's is you can be very motivated for the thing that you're interested in to an extreme degree, but it's very difficult to be motivated to get yourself going and doing things with the stuff that you aren't so interested in. So that's made it very difficult for me to learn guitar and everything, because I only really want to know how to play guitar and do all this other instrument stuff so I can add some stuff to the background of me singing, just to make it into feel more like a proper song instead of me just singing random stuff. So I'm trying to do that. But that's difficult and that's taking some time. But yeah, so that's kind of me, where I'm at and what I'm about. I have a few ideas for things that I want to do for the channel going forward that aren't necessarily music related, and so I kind of want to put those ideas out there just to kind of get your opinion on whether I should maybe do it or not. I don't know. The camera cut out on me. But yeah, so as I mentioned, I'm really into tabletop role-playing stuff. Like Dungeons and Dragons and everything like that. And it can be pretty difficult because of the selective mutism. I struggle with the roleplay stuff. I'm pushing myself and I'm getting better with it, but it is difficult. But I kind of want to maybe do some content that's based around that. I want to, well, as far as game, my favorite game system is one called Mutant Masterminds, which is like Dungeons and Dragons but for superheroes. And I really love the system and everything, but it's really difficult to get into because the character creating part of the game can be pretty complex. Because whereas Dungeons and Dragons is like a class based system, so you pick your class and then a few other options and things, and then you're good to go. You have your character. You roll up a few stats. Um, Mutants and Masterminds is a fully point by system. You have a certain number of points that you use to buy your stats, your powers, and what they do and everything. So it can be a bit difficult getting into it because of that. And so I kind of want to maybe do a series where I go over some character creation for that, mainly because I want more people to be playing it because it's really difficult to find a game with the system, and it is my favorite system, and I love it because I love superheroes. Um, yeah, so I kind of want to do that, and I also I really like the idea of maybe putting together and doing like an actual play, podcast style game that I upload to the channel or to SoundCloud or whatever. Um, and yeah, I'm not 100% sure what system I'd use for that. Maybe I make it a couple of shorter campaigns and use lots of different systems because I do like to bounce around with what system I'm playing. But yeah, those are kind of the two things that I want to do for the channel that aren't really music related. Um, and then also, I was thinking of maybe doing more stuff like this, where it's kind of unscripted and I just talk to the camera about certain things, like my experiences with Aspergers or being trans, that sort of thing, or just random nonsense. Just so that I can kind of do something that takes a little less time to get all set up and done and everything. Because with the music, I have to write the song, practice the song to a point where I'm comfortable recording it, and then I've got to record it. I've got to. There's so much to do. uh, but yeah, which actually reminds me, another thing I'm doing to improve my music is I'm learning how to use the Cakewalk uh, DAW. I think that's what it is. Digital audio workspace, um, which comes free with a site called BandLab, which is like a social media music sharing platform and stuff. Uh, so I'm trying to figure out how to use that and everything. So that's gonna be another thing that's gonna slow me down a bit on the music side of things. Yeah, and I'm also thinking going forward with recording the music of just kind of doing the stuff I release the onto this channel, kind of a bit more freeform and rough, recording it in front of the webcam and stuff. Me just kind of performing to the mic and everything. Just so that it's a little bit more interesting visually than just one static image, which is what I've been using at the moment, which takes a while to draw. I'll still probably be drawing that stuff for the thumbnails and everything, and then I'll probably try and record a more professional, if you can call it professional, version to then put up to SoundCloud or something. I don't really know. Still trying to figure everything out. Like I said, I'm constantly panicking that I'm doing everything wrong. So, yeah, I might freak out and not do any of it because of paranoia. I also keep getting really nervous and touching the mic stands. You don't want to touch the mic stand whilst you're recording. I'm an amateur. Damn amateur. But yeah. the last thing I want to say to you guys is thank you so much for the support you've given me so far, and any support you guys give in the future. Just the little bit I've gotten has meant all just so much, and I have enjoyed doing what I've been doing so far, and I really want to continue to push forward and do more in the future. But again, I might disappear for long periods of time because, you know, like the depression's still there, it still hits me, and I do still sometimes crash for months at a time, which really isn't great, but I'm getting better. I'm crashing less often, and those crashes aren't as bad. So fingers crossed, uh, things are getting better there. But yes, again, thank you so much for bearing with me through this very long ramble, and thank you so much for your support and everything. It really means a lot. Thank you. But I'm afraid, for now, it is time for me to run away. Bye.